Welcome to The New Next, a podcast that addresses current events and how they will impact the future. Co-hosted by the inquisitive public speaking champion, Mike McVeigh, and energy, economics, and technology expert, Matt Jensen. Join us as we explore all things energy, economic, tech, and political, and how they will affect our future.
So Matt, I hear that you have had some crazy times with this new up and coming company called Uber.
Yeah, I rode Uber a couple times recently, and I always love talking to Uber drivers or taxi drivers just in general, because I feel like they have, besides maybe a politician or something, they have probably the, most frequent exposures to people from all different walks of life. And I find that they have extremely interesting stories.
Yeah. I was watching this YouTube channel of one of these guys who's an Uber driver, and it was interesting. Some of the things that happened. There's a lady who was drunk, like super drunk, and she completely smashed up his car while getting out, like running into it and scratching it up. And she even recognizes it, and he had an in-camera video, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't do that," even though she's like, "I did that, but I'm not going to pay for it."
Yeah.
And even then, the insurance and stuff took forever, but he finally got the money because it was like $600 worth of damage or something to a brand new car.
That's crazy.
You have a interesting story, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So I was in one recently, and I probably heard the best story I've ever heard for an Uber driver. And this guy was a good dude, really nice. And, we quickly, I felt, got into kind of a deep conversation. But this is kind of like one thing that I ask is like, what's the most memorable story that you have while doing this job? And that usually brings up some interesting stuff. So I asked this guy, and he kind of paused for a second, and he's like, "Well, I don't know if it's a good story, but it's definitely the most important." And he said, it was one day I took a call, and it was pretty early in the morning, so like 5:30 or something. And I went and picked up this kind of, tweaker looking girl, and she was acting a little bit strange and stuff like that, but was nice and respectful and stuff. So I drove her from Oklahoma City, I think he said, over to like Choctaw or something like that, and pulled up on a abandoned mobile home park. And he turned around, and he was like, something's going on. He turned around, and he's like, what's going on here? What are you doing here? There's nobody around here. Why am I dropping you off? And she didn't really answer. She kind of waffled around. So he realized that something was kind of amiss and probed her deeper. He realized after a while that she was there to kill herself. And
wow.
Yeah, he had basically driven there. So he straight up asked her, it was like, "Am I leaving you here so you can take your life?" And she said, "I can't live anymore." And he was like, he was like, "You can't do this to me today. I want you to live. I think you have value," and all this stuff. Ended up asking her if someone that he could talk to that meant a lot to her that could take care of her. So she gave her his phone, and he called her mom, and he drove her home, dropped her off, and left her with her mom. She had 2 young kids under 3. and she was struggling, didn't feel like she was worth anything, and wanted to end her life, felt she was a burden on everything.
Wow.
But this guy was in the right place at the right time and realized something was wrong, asked questions, and, gave a crap about this girl and saved her life. She's probably never they're probably never going to see each other again. Right. And it's truly a private moment that has, I'm surely, affected so many lives, just him being there as an Uber driver. But you think about like a lady that would have taken her life that day with 2 young children, left them abandoned, and a mother that would have lost a daughter. It's it just kind of like shows that, a lot of the greatest moments in people's lives that really are probably pivotal are kind of those stranger moments where one little conversation basically flips you from one decision or another.
Right.
So it was pretty cool. And, I think there's a lot of criticism sometimes on Uber. But I mean, the drivers I've always found are incredible people. And this is kind of like probably the most impactful story I've heard, but there's been a lot of good ones. And, I'm proud of this guy for being a nice human, caring about his fellow human.
Yeah. That's a really sad, but cool story. I don't do Uber or anything like that very often. And I guess we don't get the nice drivers like you.
If you would like to learn more about the New Next podcast, find us at thenewNextPodcast.com, where you can suggest a topic you would like for us to cover. If you enjoyed what you heard, share the podcast, tell a friend about it, or rate us with 5 stars.